Hey everybody, Jason the Barefoot Priest here. We got a fun music experiment today. Recently, Andrew Huang, the YouTuber and music producer, did a video about a chord that he really enjoys, where you play a major triad in one hand and then a different major triad in the other hand, a whole step up. So like C major triad in your left and a D major triad in your right. What you get with that is a C major chord if you're building it on C. You get a C major chord and then the 9, the sharp 11, and the 13, but you don't have the 7th. It's a real fun sound, a real pretty sound, and he uses it a lot to end chord progressions, but he couldn't find any examples of people who used it in like the middle of a chord progression. So he challenged folks to write music with that voicing, that chord in the middle of a progression. So let's hear what I did, and then I'll talk about a little bit more where I use that voicing. So I hope you dug that. And before we get into talking about how I used this voicing in particular, I haven't named this piece yet. And so I've got two in mind. Let me know in the comments which you prefer. First thought was shadows, because that's what I use in the videos, different videos of shadows. I think that works pretty well. The other one, it could be simply lo-fi for Andrew. So that's your two options, lo-fi for Andrew or shadows. Give me a shout out in the comments. Let me know which title you prefer for this piece of music, this music experiment. All right, now let's dig into how I used the chord voicing. When I was thinking about how to use it, of course, it's a major chord, so you could use it over any major chord in the progression. So at first I thought about using it on the 4 chord. Then I was like, well, that's kind of maybe a little pedestrian. Then I thought, well, maybe what about the flat 6? You can borrow the flat 6 major chord from the minor mode. In this case, we're in C, so it would be A flat. And that makes a nice transition into the 5 chord. The flat 6 to 5 is a nice transition. So we start with a C major chord. I'm doing a C major 7 with the 13, or the 6. And I used a chordal voicing. So we got the 7, the 3rd, and the 13 in the right hand. This makes a really strong home bass kind of sound. I think when you're using a lot of extensions, jazz extensions and such, you can make the 1 chord, the tonic chord, the home chord, not sound like home because there's so much tension. It weakens it a little bit. So I want to use this really strong voicing there. But then here's our A flat chord. And we got a B flat in the right hand. I inverted it a little bit just for fun. Then we go to the G. So we're using Andrew's chord right here on the flat 6. Then we go to the G with some extensions. And then I do a D flat with a B chord over the top of it before going back to C at the end of the chord progression. This D flat major triad with a B major triad above it is interesting because we get a little bit of a sharp 9 with the F in the left hand and the F sharp in the right hand. That's a spicy interval that you usually try to avoid, but I think it sounds cool here. In the B section, I wanted something to sound bright, so I went to an A flat minor chord. Even though it's a minor chord, it still sounds really bright, I think because of its distance from C, and also because I'm playing a G flat major chord above it. That gives it a real kind of brightness. And I just oscillate between an A flat chord and a B flat chord. And again, I'm using this voicing again that Andrew's talking about, but this time I have a minor chord in the left hand and a major chord in the right hand. Then we head back to the A section to round it out. Again, thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm Jason, the Barefoot Priest. Please do hit the thumb, hit the bell, hit the subscribe buttons, and so you don't miss a single experiment. And we'll be back next week. Thanks a lot.